With the introduction of chapter 216 of Jujutsu Kaisen, I've seen a lot of different discussion everywhere on whether or not Yuta would be able to take down somebody like Kenjaku or even this 15-fingered version of Sukuna, and honestly I kind of wanted to give my take on how I think a lot of this would go, since I feel like a lot of people are throwing out different things, but I do want to give my own take on how Yuta would fare against 15-fingered Sukuna specifically right now. Spoilers for the end of the video, I think he could theoretically do it, but in his current form, in his current mindset, he honestly would not be able to. Before we get into all of that, don't forget to like, comment, and sub if you do enjoy Jujutsu Kaisen content, since I will be doing a lot of this on my channel. Thank you for stopping by. I feel like in order to really appreciate just how strong Yuta is, we need to go over a lot of his different abilities that he would have going into a fight against Sukuna or Kenjaku or anybody on that level. And Yuta does have a lot of different things on his resume, and I actually go more in depth on this in my video where I paired him against Gojo, and I talked about how Yuta really does have the potential to surpass him. And I honestly do feel like this is a strong case, but let's go over just a couple of his abilities that he has going for him. As we all know, the two biggest things that Yuta has going for him really in any fight are his strong cursed energy reserves and Rika herself kind of manifesting and helping out during his fights. In regards to his own cursed energy, I feel like the sentiment or the idea that Yuta has the potential to become the strongest is really the most important thing about him, because he really does just have that raw potential. We know that Yuta actually doesn't really have a body suited to be very strong, but I feel like he could actually train this and make his body stronger itself, and we know this, he kind of depends on his cursed energy to become that strong. But can you imagine if Yuta actually had a very strong base core body that he was able to course that energy through? It would make him exponentially stronger and make his attacks exponentially that more devastating. So I feel like Yuta right now just has so much potential in terms of just himself, his own fighting ability through cursed energy, just usage like that. And I feel like the best way for him to do this would be to train his body, and we know that Yuta has not been a sorcerer for that long. He's kind of in the same camp as Yuji, where he hasn't been a sorcerer that long yet he's already this strong in his base form kind of. So I feel like he just has a lot of potential to become even stronger through years and years of training. So I feel like this really does put him at a league above, since he's this strong with only maybe like a year and a half of training, and he's already special grade and he's already able to contend with people like Ishigori and a lot of other strong curses. So I feel like this is very important. Along with naturally strong cursed energy, Yuta obviously has his ability to copy cursed techniques, and I feel like this is one of the most important things he has going for him in any fight that he gets into. We actually haven't seen him utilize this a lot in the story, but we've only really seen him use the cursed speech, and even that is very devastating for most people that he fights. Nobody kind of sees it coming out of anywhere, and he's actually able to use this right now in the story without even using the microphone, so he can just use it using hand signs in his own mouth. So that honestly shows a level of mastery already over a technique that takes this whole clan a lot of years to master. So Yuta is very special. He's very similar to Yuji in that regard, where he's able to really utilize and learn techniques or different abilities very fast compared to other people. And I really do feel like it isn't stressed enough just how much potential Yuta has in regards to his own physical strength and just cursed energy manipulation. We have to remember that Gojo himself even took an L to Toji in that moment, but he was able to manifest this strength and he was able to become stronger at that time. So I feel like something similar could happen to Yuta, where he can be in a life or death situation and he can become exponentially stronger from that experience that he has. Along with having this very strong body, very strong cursed energy, and almost immeasurable amount of cursed energy, and the fact that he's able to mimic cursed techniques, he also has reverse curse techniques, which is very useful for curses. And he's also able to, I'm assuming, put out positive energy. I think that's exactly what he did when he was fighting against the cockroach curse. He was able to kind of put out positive energy, and it isn't really said in the story a lot what this positive energy is, but it's actually the ability to really just annihilate curses. They cannot withstand positive energy, and we know that people like Maharoga, you know, the curse or the Shikigami that Megumi has, actually has a sort of straight up positive energy, and we know that this is very strong against curses. Curses cannot withstand positive energy, and it's not good on them, so I'm pretty sure that's what he used against that fight. But it also could have just been reverse curse techniques, but I also think they kind of are both one of the same things, so we don't know a lot about this. Gege hasn't really mentioned it a lot in the story, but hopefully by the end we kind of know exactly what both of these are. What we do know is that he's able to utilize at the very least reverse curse techniques, and this is very useful for any sorcerer, and a lot of sorcerers don't have access to this, and when they do, it kind of puts them already at a level of their own in regards to anybody else. And I'm obviously kind of giving a Cliff Notes version of why I think he's very strong, but he also has access to Rika, and Rika in herself is very strong. We know how strong she is from Film Zero. We know that Rika has a lot going for her. We know that utilizing Rika and kind of linking to her, he's able to have infinite cursed energy for about 5 minutes, so that is very useful, and that would play very heavy into him winning a lot of fights. The fact that he now has infinite cursed energy for 5 minutes and he's able to kind of let loose and do whatever he wants to. Now with this Cliff Notes version of why I think Yuta is so strong, we can actually go over Sukuna in the story right now. And Sukuna, I will not lie, is a menace right now in the story, and what he did to Ishigori really does show that he's kind of in a league of his own right now, only at 15 fingers. And I did say this in my last video, the chapter review, that he hasn't even really used his true form, I guess you could say. We know that he has a true form and he hasn't utilized this, and he's already this strong, so we do know that this dude is a menace. He's very strong, I'm not going to lie, but I do think that Yuta has the potential to sort of be able to contend on that level of him, and maybe even one day kind of be on the level of Gojo and Sukuna in that regard. What I'm basically wanting to say is that the only person really holding Yuta back from becoming the strongest is Yuta himself. Yuta himself is just a very timid person. He honestly doesn't really throw himself into the deep end, I guess you could say, in terms of Jujutsu world. And we know that in the Jujutsu world, you kind of depend on negative emotions to become stronger. That is how curse techniques are manifested, and you use your curses in this way, and Yuta himself kind of goes against this mold. We know that during his fight with Uro, he kind of throws around the fact that, you know, do you have anybody you like? Do you have anything you're kind of treasuring? Do you have anything you hold dear? And we know that Uro kind of doesn't really understand this. She's somebody that's strong, she's a strong curse user, and she doesn't understand why Yuta kind of holds on to these abstract concepts of having something to hold on to or having somebody that you like, and I do think this is holding Yuta back immensely. It also very heavily ties into what Sukuna was kind of saying to Jogo during his fight with Jogo, saying that Jogo wasn't really able to kind of throw everything away. He wasn't able to say, screw this, I want to become strong and become the strongest ever. He kind of had that tie-in to having, you know, comrades and wanting to fight with other people, and that technically held him back. And it's just the honest truth in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. You're kind of better off or stronger when you kind of shoulder everything on yourself and do everything alone. And we do kind of see this with somebody like Gojo, where Gojo is honestly quite literally insane. No matter how you look at it, the dude is insane, but he uses this insanity to become stronger. He believes himself to be the strongest. He kind of burdens or holds everything on his shoulders, and he does become stronger. So I feel like something similar can happen to Yuta, where if Yuta actually is able to kind of unlock his mind in a way, and he's able to completely fight unhinged without having to worry about a lot of different things, he would become on the level of someone like Sukuna, someone like Gojo. You know, he'd be able to do what Jogo couldn't do. He'd be able to throw everything away and become the strongest there is. And I really do like that Gege keeps kind of pushing on this idea of you kind of have to throw things away to become stronger as a sorcerer, and we did see this with Jogo, and it was very true. Sukuna kind of schooled Jogo, and the fact that if he really wanted to become the strongest, he would have kind of thrown all that comrade stuff away, but he didn't, and that kind of let him not become the strongest he could have been. And of course we get hints at this during his fight with Uro, where she's kind of concerned at the fact, or not really understanding why he's kind of bringing up, you know, do you like this, do you like that, do you have anything you kind of hold dear? She doesn't really understand this, and it really does just show that the only person holding Yuta back from becoming the strongest is himself. That is to say, I feel like Yuta's missing just a couple different things. He's missing time to really develop his abilities and become the strongest there is, and he's also missing a moment in the story where he's really pushed and he's able to kind of have a revelation, the same way that Gojo, when he fought Toji, kind of manifested that new ability. And we see that after this, Gojo really wasn't the same. After that fight with Toji, Gojo completely changed, and that I feel is when he really became the strongest there is. Yuta is completely just missing this mindset of becoming the strongest, and I feel like that's what's holding him back. The only person holding Yuta back from being able to defeat someone like Sukuna, even 15-fingered form, is himself. I really do hope that by the end of the series, Gege kind of rights this wrong and gives Yuta the justice that he really deserves and gives him that power-up, that revelation, that ability to become the strongest there is. And I do feel like this is possible for him, but he just needs to change up his mindset and give himself a little bit more time to become stronger. All in all, I feel like it really is easy for Yuta to ascend to the levels of people like 15-finger Sukuna, or maybe even fully manifested Sukuna in the future, and it just shows that all he needs to do is just change up his mindset. He has everything going for him. He's literally a mini Gojo in some regards, as I like to put it, but he just has his mindset kind of holding him back, and that really is it. So once he's able to unlock his mind and really get into the groove of becoming a Jujutsu sorcerer and knowing what exactly that means, he's definitely going to be on the level of Gojo and Sukuna. He's definitely going to be up there, even even on the level of people like Kenjaku, which I do think he's going to end up fighting in the future, and he's going to be able to do this once he's able to fully realize what he really has in his hands and how much power he really holds. Definitely let me know what you guys thought of the video in the comment section down below, and let me know if you guys agree with the fact that Yuta really does have the potential to rise to the levels of Gojo and Sukuna. I feel like this really is the case, and the only person holding him back is himself right now. Also, like the video if you liked it and subscribe, because it really does help me out, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys for sticking around. Also follow my socials in the top right corner, and with that being said, I'm out. Peace.